When you play stadiums, it's insane. It's like it's just such a high walking out in front of thousands of people, playing your guitar and then singing songs that you've written. And sometimes they'll sing back, and it's like on reflection, as I, from where I am now, it's crazy. It's such a mad thing to do, especially if you're like 20 years old. I just don't think it's normal standing in front of like 60,000 people, and you're like, they're all watching you doing this thing, and you're like, you're not going to be the same afterwards, are you?
Welcome to the Cheers and Strings podcast, the show where I talk to musicians about what's happening within the local music scene, as well as listening to some of their original music. So today, my guest is Liam Cromby, who's a musician from the south of England. He's probably best known for his time with rock band We're the Ocean, but more recently, he's been focusing on his solo career. And we'll have a chance to listen to some of his original songs a little bit later. So I hope you enjoy it. Right, so Liam.
Hello.
Thank you very much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Not a problem. Not a problem at all. Right, so we recorded some of your music earlier, some really great stuff. Really enjoyed that. So thank you for playing that. I appreciate it. Later on, we'll have a chance to listen to some of them, and we can speak about that a little bit. But before we do that, I want you to just take me back to when you first got started in music and what first inspired you to get into it.
Music in my life has it's just always been there from when I can remember. Mum and dad sang in the church bands, and we'd always have like kind of the band practice at our house. So I'd be not really asleep, upstairs and kind of listening to the bands downstairs. Whenever we were driving up and down from Liverpool, Mum and Dad would be singing, and we'd have the country songs on, like Johnny Cash and Dolly Parton, Patsy Cline, George Jones, and the Eagles. And so that's what I remember from a really early age of just kind of taking in music then. And then it wasn't until I was about 12 and I got my first guitar and I started singing. My music teachers heard that I could sing, and they kind of invited me to sing at the Christmas concert. They kind of, it was great. They encouraged me to do it. I was quite a shy kid, and so I did, and it really changed a lot for me about not only just kind of listening to music, but now about performing and singing as well. And what would happen afterwards was, I'd join a band, local band, to kind of where I grew up, and I was playing bass at first, which was fun. It's pretty easy, 4 strings. But it was punk rock, so it was just pretty standard stuff. And yeah, I just. We played our first couple of shows. We'd play at the Square in Harlow.
All right.
Then shortly after that, I started another band.
Yeah. We'll get into your time with We're the Ocean a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
So, when it came to performing and things like that, was that something you said you were quite a shy kid? So was that something that came quite naturally in terms of the performing side of things? Did you ever get performance anxiety, that kind of thing?
At that age, when I was like 13, 14, I think I was 14 when I first sang in front of like an assembly or Christmas concert or whatever it was. I didn't get anxious. I wasn't too anxious. I enjoyed it because I felt at the time it was my way of expressing myself, and I felt seen, I felt heard, and that was good for my confidence, and I felt that. I got performance anxiety later down the line, But yeah, at the beginning, it was just a case of like once I did it the first time, and I saw the reaction that I got from when I sang. I saw that I was like, okay, like I can. This is how I communicate. This is how like I connect with people.
Yeah. What would you say that like now that you've been writing music for a little bit, like quite a period of time, and all that, what would you say your goal is now? So how has that transition from just starting out playing performances and now looking back on it? What would you say your goal for writing music now and performing things like that is?
I think when it's changed. Like when I first started singing and performing in a band and writing our own music, it was a case of I wanted to I wanted to like live that dream. I wanted to be in a band. I wanted to tour, and I wanted to play big shows. It was all very much like kind of purposes of myself and what I wanted to achieve. And but these days I find myself in a position where I think what gives me purpose is other people. When you perform or write a song, you know, I found when I started Busking in 2019 to get myself back into music, you know, I had a quite profound moment. You know, I was just playing a few cover songs. I think it was Bob Dylan, and someone came over and said afterwards, like, oh, you know, thanks so much for playing that song. I really needed to hear that today.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realised it's not really about me anymore. Like, it's more about, well, I can do this thing, and when I do it, people feel something, or, you know, they remember something, or it can make them happy, it can make them sad, it can, you know, gives them an experience of a human experience, essentially, and so that's why I do it now.
Yeah, no, I absolutely know what you mean. I actually had the same feeling with this podcast. Like, at first, when I started it, I felt like it was something that I wanted to do, and it is something that I enjoy. But actually, one of the most rewarding parts is like seeing other people enjoy it, and that side of things, you know. That, and especially when people go into details about, say, like mental health and things like that.
Sure.
And I imagine that's the same with songwriting.
Yeah. You were songwriting. It's cathartic, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like it's therapy.
Exactly. Yeah. So you've played a number of like different size venues, doing like some huge gigs and some smaller, more intimate ones.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say your like best experience performing has been? Would you say it's more of a small, intimate crowd, or would you say some of the larger performances have been more rewarding?
For me personally, they give two different experiences, and they're two different shows.
Yeah.
Like when you play an intimate crowd, you know, the walls are dripping. It's really hot.
Yeah.
And everyone's rocking out, and we're all having a really good time. And you can feel that energy, and we're all sharing that experience, and we're really close in that moment. There's something, you know, really contagious about that. Something really like addictive and also just like really human. But then, you know, on the flip side, when you play stadiums, you know, it's insane. It's like it's just such a high walking out in front of thousands of people, playing your guitar and then singing songs that you've written, and sometimes they'll sing back, and it's like on reflection, as I, you know, from where I am now, it's crazy. It's such a mad thing to do, especially if you're like 20 years old. I just don't think it's normal standing in front of like 60,000 people, and you're like, they're all watching you doing this thing, and you're like, you're not going to be the same afterwards, are you?
No, exactly, yeah. And I think that's something that not many people get to experience. So I think it's a very unique thing in life.
Yeah, I don't go like I'm not like trashing it. Like, it's the best thing.
Yeah,
like, it was such a great experience playing those. You know, I call them like the mega shows, like the Wembley Arena, and we did a few football stadiums out in Europe as well.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad I got to experience them. But yeah, I just enjoy reflecting and analysing the kind of psyche of what that kind of moment can do to you, and how, you know, that may affect you later on.
Yeah, I can imagine that it definitely must have an impact. So, as I say, we will get back to We're the Ocean, but if I just move on to some of the things that you're doing at the moment. So, in terms of songwriting, how do you generally approach songwriting nowadays?
I'm always trying to remain open and listen, and be open to whenever inspiration comes. So, I'll be listening to people talk at the pub or something. I might overhear someone having a conversation, and a lot of the time, like, just in conversation, people can actually, there's the lyrics right there, and you can get some really great conversational lyrics and storytelling from that. So a lot of it is just, keeping open and waiting for things to come around. And I think these days I've got a better relationship with my creativity.
Right.
Be it that, if it's not there, I know to stop.
Yeah.
Rather than try and push through when it's not coming. Like,
yeah, the last guest I was speaking to on here, he spoke a lot about that, about how it's good to have these times, in between writing, because I think it definitely helps to not be too hard on yourself when songs don't come, and to just have that period where you can go, right, this is just my period where I'm building up creativity, and
absolutely,
as opposed to going, oh my God, I'm never going to write again,
You've got to build momentum into it.
Yeah,
I think.
Absolutely. As I said earlier, we recorded some of your music, and I'd like to just speak about one of them. What was the first song that we recorded? It was called
Feel the Same.
Feel the Same, yeah?
Yeah.
So how long ago did you write that?
That's been in the making for a long time. It's probably best part of 8 years.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So was that one of your first solo songs, or were you writing before that?
No, it's pretty. It's pretty close. It's actually kind of like it was a co-write. I wrote with a couple of guys out in Southend, country band called Holloway Road.
Okay.
Kind of pop country rock, and I was just writing with those guys for a bit, and had a few lyrics kind of down. And actually, there's a bit of a story about the song if you want to hear it.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah.
So the line, everything changes, but I still feel the same, was brought to me by a friend of my dad's. We were in O'Neill's in Ilford. My dad was singing My Girl on the karaoke, and Paul's like, I've got a lyric for you. I was like, okay, what is it? He's like, everything changes and I still feel the same. I was like, okay. I really liked it. And that actually came about 15 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I really liked the line. I didn't know why, but it just takes time sometimes, I think, for these moments of inspiration to make sense. I felt, on reflection, I probably needed to live a little bit more to really kind of feel like, oh, everything's changed, but I still feel the same.
Yeah.
To know what it's actually about,
Yeah, absolutely. If we give it a listen,
yeah.
And then if you want, we can speak about it a little bit afterwards. Yeah.
Sure.
Fantastic. Let's do it.
Okay. This song's called Feel the Same. I remember the sun beating down. We were flying down the road, headed for the coast, searching for the here and now, to that old rock and roll sound. We were already found. Ain't it funny how life gets in the way, trying to let go of yesterday. Oh, everything changes, but I still feel the same. I've been holding on for far too long. Living life is moving on. Oh, in my heart, the memory remains. still feel the same. Well, heaven's on the back seat, smoking up a new dream. We were young back then, running wild like horses in the rain, with the world on our backs. There was no turning back. Ain't it funny how life gets in the way, trying to let go of yesterday. Oh, everything changes, but I still feel the same. I've been holding on for far too long. Living life is moving on. Oh, in my heart, memory remains. Oh, everything changes, but I still feel the same. Out of all of those things that I'm leaving behind, just know that you'll always be here by my side. All the roads that I take as time passes by, this is a cheers, no it ain't a goodbye. But ain't it funny how life gets in the way, trying to let go of yesterday. Oh, everything changes, but I still feel the same. Been holding on for far too long. Living life is letting go. In my heart, memory remains. Oh, everything changes, but I still feel the same.
Right, I think we're back.
We're back.
I'd like to dive into your time with We're the Ocean, if you don't mind.
It's fine.
Yeah, so how did that get started then?
So I saw that there was a band, local band, advertising for a new guitarist. And so I reached out, got an audition, and that's basically how it started very early on. We were a different band before We're the Ocean, but it was Danny and Jack, and so I joined the band with them and Tom as well. And then shortly after that, Alfie joined, and once Alfie joined, we released our first song, and we kind of rebranded the name, called it We're the Ocean.
Yeah.
And just got started from there.
Yeah, so how long did that take before you started to build some traction?
It happened pretty fast. We were part of the MySpace kind of boom, I guess you might say, of like 2007, 2008.
Yeah.
We released our first song and it got a lot of attention, people putting it on their profile pages.
Right.
And obviously we had a video on YouTube, and that was just kind of how it started. It happened pretty fast.
You got signed eventually to Hassel Records, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So was that quite early on again?
It was, I think it was within the first 2 years. We recorded our EP, released that. We then flew to Baltimore, recorded the first album there, came back and signed to Hassel. So, yeah, I think it was within the first 2 years.
You were independent then when you recorded that first album?
Yes.
Right. So that was all just off your own back, flying to Baltimore and doing all that?
Do you mean financially?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had some support. We were managed by a promoter at the time who works for a quite well-known UK, worldwide promoter. And so they had some funds in there to be able to fund us to do that, and then we paid them back through the tours that they put us on.
Right.
Yeah.
Was there a big difference? So over the course of because you recorded 4 albums, right?
There was 4 albums. was like an EP, 2 EPs in between, but
Right.
they kind of just got put into the like one thing.
Yeah. So was there a big change between, say, like the first time you recorded an album to the fourth? Were you in a small little studio at the start and then in a massive like professional studio when you ended?
No, but the first studio, I mean, the first album was recorded at Salad Days, a recording studio in Baltimore, and it was with a guy called Brian McTurnan, and he was quite kind of big, I suppose, a face within that kind of post-hardcore scene.
Yeah.
He recorded bands like Thrice and Circus Survive that we really looked up to, so it was really exciting to go over. And I mean, it certainly wasn't a small studio. It was great sounding drum room. Had accommodation above the live room as well. It was
Right.
really fun. We were there for a month doing that.
Really?
And then afterwards we went to Middle Farm for our second album, and Middle Farm Studios is based out in Devon, and I think we were the first band to record there. It was yet to have heating, and we were working with Pete Miles, our producer there, and from that session we just kept going back, and I haven't actually recorded anything else anywhere else since. No, everything we released after that was from Middle Farm. So yeah.
So you played some pretty huge gigs. Was there ever a period where you had that realization that wow, we've actually made it, or we've got further than we expected?
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it.
Obviously-
Further than expected.
Yeah, because obviously it's always the dream.
Yeah.
But do you ever really believe that it's going to happen until you're standing in front of a stadium of people?
Until it's actually happening, I think that's that's the moment when the penny drops. And it happens in stages. Like little things will happen, like getting your first review in Kerrang magazine, or having a music video played on Kerrang TV. These things were kind of important to us at the time, because that was almost like a sign that you were doing well, you were progressing, and as time goes by, the shows get better. Your headline shows are selling out better, like faster, and you're getting better like tour supports. We supported a lot of my favourite bands. Our favourite bands back in the day, we were able to tour with them, and it's in those moments that you feel like it's doing well, but even then, and I think it's partly being that we were so young when we were doing it. There's a bit of naivety to it, and there's a bit of like, we were so young, it was just happening so fast to really take stock of what was happening.
Yeah.
I just don't think we would have been able to, not in the way that we are now, like obviously maturer and a little bit older and wiser. We often talk about it, when we meet up, and we talk about like some of the memories that we've all shared, and we're all like, wow, that's mad. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, I bet. So how old were you at the time when you first started the band?
I was, I think it was like 18, 19.
Wow, really? Yeah.
Alfie was 16.
Wow, that's crazy.
We picked him up outside. He finished his GCSEs, came out of school, and the van pulled up, and literally like we pulled up outside the school, like get in the van, and we went on tour. We supported Fight Star.
Wow. Yeah.
It was
that's
crazy. Yeah,
that is crazy. So Fight Star was one of the bands that you supported.
one of the first ones. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a few other big ones, right? So what were some of your favourite bands you supported?
I really enjoyed. I think like supporting Muse in Europe was a real like moment for me, but I think for shows, Muse was probably like one of the best one. But a lot of the time, the best kind of bands you support is like the ones that you make a connection with, and you're like, okay, well, we're going to spend the next 2-3 weeks together, and you end up having like just an amazing experience.
Yeah,
every day something new happens, and we get to play these shows and meet all these people. And I think there was one of the early tours we did, actually. It was with Yumi at Six and another band called All Forgotten. It was just all a load of mates, We just had really good time. It was such an early stage of our career and the other bands as well. So, you know, we were almost like in awe of everything that was happening.
So did you do much of your own like tours and things like that, or was it more supporting other artists?
We did. It differed really. I think there were times where we used to support a lot of bands, and then that ties into what I was saying before. Like we were managed by promoters, so you know we were able to get some great tours in that.
Yeah.
But then in other times we'd be headlining quite a lot. I remember we did a headline tour in the UK for a month, and we just played every town and every city we could.
Yeah.
And that was great. That was really fun.
So you recorded quite a few music videos over the time you were in the band as well.
Yeah.
What was your experience with that?
They were awkward.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, I just making music. They get at first they're a little awkward. I suppose they do get a little bit easier, but usually it's like you got to be up at 7 a.m. You stand in a warehouse. There's no heating. It's probably like November.
Yeah.
For some reason, all our videos were like in warehouses in November.
Yeah.
Which is really cold.
Would you say that's also like the sort of contrived nature of a music video? Do you know what I mean? It seems a bit false in a way.
Yeah, it is. I mean, but that was a thing back then. Everyone needed music videos.
Yeah.
It was the best way to promote your band. You could use YouTube to put it out there, and if it got onto TV, then even better.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of part of what it was, I guess, at the time. Don't get me right. At times, like it did feel like, oh, cool, we're making a music video.
Yeah.
And again, it's one of those boxes to be ticked, I guess, as a young artist, wanting to be in a rock band,
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, that is the dream. Like, I mean, I played in a rock band, and that was the thought, wasn't it? Like, we didn't really make much traction at all, but obviously there's that dream. We're gonna hit it big. We're gonna play these tours and make music videos and whatever. Yeah. You had a reunion with We're the Ocean a couple of years ago, yeah?
Yeah.
Was that just one show, was it?
Yeah.
It was one show. So what was that like? Did that feel natural?
Yeah, it just felt quite healing.
Yeah.
We were able to kind of finish it on a higher note than where we left it, I think.
Yeah.
And it was great to just like hang out and practice, be in the room again. We we rehearsed for on and off for like 8 months, and just going through the songs again and sharing a good time with the lads was it was great. It was really special.
Yeah.
And then to cap it off with playing the show, we had our friends and family there, but also like we saw a lot of fans from all over Europe. There were some
Really,
yeah, like so like you're more like your super fans, and just I say super fans, like those people are like friends to me now. Like I talk to them quite often on Instagram or Facebook, and they're always checking in, and it's part of the family, I guess.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Is there any talk of any other kind of reunion in the future?
Nothing at the moment.
Nothing at the minute, no. But you don't write it off, no?
I mean, I don't write anything off. I think, you always leave the door open for everything in life, so...
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Well, it sounds like quite an experience anyway, overall, and I'm sure it's something that you look back on with fond memories.
Absolutely.
If we move on a little, and then we can listen to another one of your songs.
Great.
So what was the second song that we recorded?
The second song was Love Takes Time.
Love Takes Time. So when did you write that?
That was written in 2 parts. The first half was written in 2018 at Sound Lab Studios in Loughton, actually.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then the second part, or the second half of the song, was written in Nashville in 2019. I met a songwriter out there, Emery Adeline, and I played her like the first verse and the chorus, and she helped me finish the song. And the song is just about like kind of reflecting on and expressing kind of like the the things that I'd learned about how relationships can work.
Interesting. Okay, let's give it a listen, yeah?
Okay.
Let's do it.
This one is called Love Takes Time. The distance in your eyes is as far as the night, and it's cold out here in the pouring rain. But I don't really mind as long as you're by my side, and there's no need for words, 'cause I know what you're saying. Body said it was gonna be easy, now we're hanging on a wire. The body said that we're crazy, 'cause we're playing with a fire. So when it hits you like a freight train, don't ignore the signs, because love takes time. We're like bourbon in a teacup, like lightning bottled up, never knowing if we're gonna strike. Now we're crossing over lines that I've seen a million times. Yeah, we're fighting now, but tomorrow will be alright. But he said it was gonna be easy, now we're hanging on a wire. But he said that we're crazy, 'cause we're playing with a fire. So when it hits you like a freight train, don't ignore the signs, because love takes time. We're hanging by a thread, embers slowly burning out or blazing red. We're hanging by a thread, embers slowly burning out or blazing red. Oh, is this all in my head? Nobody said it was gonna be easy, now we're hanging on a wire. Everybody said that we're crazy, 'cause we're playing with the fire. So when it hits you like a freight train, don't ignore the signs, because love takes time. Oh, love takes time. Oh, true love takes time.
Sorry, when did you say you wrote that song?
2019.
2019, okay.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the recording side of things, so like nowadays, how does that generally work? Do you do that in a professional studio environment, or is it more of a home studio setup?
So the songs start at a home studio setup, like kind of demoing stage.
Yeah.
But when it comes to recording the music for album purposes or releasing purposes, and then that's when I'll take it to professional studio, a bit like Middle Farm, and we'll record it there. These days I like to just set up the mics, hit record and go, and just capture a performance as much of that as I can without really overdubbing if I can help it.
Right. So quite a lot of your recordings are just like live takes almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that first album, my debut album, that was recorded in 4 days.
Wow. Yeah.
And it was just all recorded to tape as well, which was pretty cool.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
That is cool.
And we just set up the mics and quickly learnt the songs. And we were saying it was like capturing lightning in a jar.
Yeah.
You do a few takes, and one of them, everyone's kind of made a mistake here or there, but it's like, yeah, but that's got the energy, that's got the lightning.
Yeah. I think that is important, really, because we can get bogged down sometimes about, it has to be perfect, it has to be just like this. But I think the most important thing is the energy. Do you know what I mean? The feeling of the song.
Yeah.
Before I move on, what's the name of the album?
Oh, so the debut album's called What Can I Trust If I Can't Trust True Love?
Very cool. So when did that come out?
December 2023.
Okay, cool. So relatively recently, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, so earlier you mentioned with the first song that we recorded that was somewhat of a collaboration.
Yeah.
So do you often do collaborations with other musicians?
I did on my first record. It was the first time I did it. I needed to basically kind of start the engine again with my creativity. After Weirdy Ocean had broke up, I kind of put my guitar down, I put the tools down, and I needed a long time away from it. So when I decided to come back into writing music and starting that journey again, I needed help. And also I wanted to learn about songwriting from people that do it, every day. Writing for Weirdy Ocean was, it was all from intuition, and I kind of taught myself how to do it, and it was great. But the issue that you find with that is that when the inspiration isn't there or the creation is not there, it's really difficult to write a song.
Yeah.
That became a bit of a problem, writer's block for me,
Yeah.
essentially.
Do you mean more recently or with Weirdy Ocean?
With Weirdy Ocean, but I think it can happen at any time. But yeah, in Weirdy Ocean, I found there was issues for myself with writer's block, and that led to some difficult times with my creativity, and like I said before, it was how I expressed myself and connected with people in the world around me. So when I couldn't do that, it was like I was silenced almost. So when the band had finished and I wanted to get back into writing music again, I knew that I needed to take a new approach from it, and part of that was writing with other songwriters, learning from them, and also asking, just for help, support. I'd go into a writing session with an idea, but I found it really difficult to finish that idea or kind of see where it was going. And it actually led to some of the better memories I have of writing. Especially like those guys in Southend, Holloway Road. We're very much alike. We're all from Essex, so we'd finish a song and be like, it's just a really good time. Everyone was like, we were just like high fiving, cheering, or like we'd come up with a good idea, like, oh, that's the one.
Yeah,
felt like I was in a band again, actually.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's got to be enjoyable at the end of the day, isn't it? I mean, I know you want to obviously come up with an end product, but it's the process, isn't it?
Yeah, I think and it can be enjoyable in different ways, right? Like it can be shared fun and enjoyment that we finish a song, and sometimes it can be more of just a personal journey of starting an idea, finding out what I'm trying to say, or what you're trying to say as a songwriter within this song. And that can take a little time sometimes, but you keep going, and you try this and you try that, and then eventually, your puzzle's complete.
Yeah. So going back quickly to your time with We're the Ocean, what was the songwriting like with that? Was that mainly you, or did you write as a band?
At the beginning, I'd say it was mostly myself coming to the table with a song idea, and I'd do a lot of like kind of the structuring, and that was fine. Like, I was happy to do that. As the band progressed, I think the rest of the band, took an interest more and more into songwriting as well, and obviously being a part of the process, we then got to I think it was the fourth album, the last album we done, where there was more kind of ideas coming across from different people in the band.
Yeah.
It was more collaborative in that way.
All right, brilliant. Coming back to your music now then, so you primarily write sort of country type music, yeah? Is that what you would say?
I don't know if I would. I'm certainly inspired by country music, but I think country music is just so vast. Country music can be this super hyper pop sound, and it can also be this super rustic, salt of the earth kind of thing. It's what I would say, if what it would be, is heartland rock, which is something that I came across more recently.
Okay.
And it's a genre of music which basically encapsulates what I think I'm doing. Essentially, heartland rock is a mix of country rock and folk.
Okay.
And you find artists like Bruce Springsteen or Tom Petty,
right.
Bob Seger, and you would also put Sam Fender in heartland rock,
right?
Because of the instrumentation, because of the tempo, because of the choice of beat, and also the lyrical content. That's what kind of makes heartland rock.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So, do you feel? I don't know if you answered this as such already, but do you feel it's important to be associated to a specific genre?
I think it depends on how your creativity works. Personally, for me, one day I might want to do this, and then tomorrow I might want to do something else.
Yeah.
And so it could have a negative impact on me to try and put it in a box.
Yeah.
That's why I like heartland rock, though, because it encapsulates folk rock and country. So I'm like, okay, so that's, it's like the Holy Trinity. Got that captured.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, you may have a relationship with your creativity where it's like, no, this is more focused. This is, it's punk rock. This is what we do.
Yeah.
These are the tempos. These are the chords.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is, and you brand your band or you brand your music in that way, and instantly, there's the fan base. That's what we're going for. There's our target audience.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It just depends, I suppose, on your preference as an artist or as a creative. But if you're asking me, then I'd prefer to try. I try not to put myself in a box, and
yeah,
I suppose I try to listen to what's going on here, and what am I hearing? What am I being attracted to at the moment, and what pulls me in, like sonically.
Yeah,
I listen to a lot of punk rock, metalcore. Total opposite to what I actually write.
So has that changed a lot over the years? Like your listening?
I think everyone's does, doesn't it? Like you do grow, and you listen to new music, and your palette widens.
Mm-hmm.
But I still, on a weekly basis, will listen to the bands and the artists that I listened to when I was a teenager, because they're such powerful memories, or it's like a little bit of nostalgia in there. But I think anyone, like, your favourite records are usually from the age of like in between 16 and 25.
Yeah. Like
some of those records that you listen to then, because they're so powerful and they like have such like momentous moments.
Yeah, absolutely.
They bookmark it, don't they?
Yeah. So when it comes to your songwriting now, or at any point, did you ever feel unsure to put something out there because of like the content of the lyrics or anything like that? Because I know you write a lot of songs that are quite personal and like heartfelt. So do you ever feel that like unsure to put things out there, or do you feel like you've got to a point where you feel comfortable doing so?
There have been times where I've been cautious about releasing the songs that I've written, or just not felt confident with the creativity side of things. But I think it's important to put yourself out there, show like, you know, your good parts and your bad parts. You know, I don't want to be an artist that just, you know, everything's really polished and everything's pure and everything's just done, you know?
Yeah.
I'd rather like just be more real with it, and, you know, if it doesn't land, it doesn't land. Like,
yeah,
I think that's just more of a natural way of doing it, as being like a creative and being like trying to stay true to myself, as well as like just being true to my creativity. I look back at, like, you know, like say like Tom Petty.
Yeah.
You know, it's Tom Petty and Heartbreakers, like some of those albums, you've got like some massive hits. And then there's like some songs on the albums that just, you know, they don't land as well.
Yeah.
Still great songs, but they're not like, you know, you can't have Free Fallin' 10 times over.
No.
Right?
You can't, yeah. I think that's an interesting thing to think about, because, I mean, I think today with like social media and things, you get everything seems polished and perfect in a lot of ways, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it's changed the way that we see things to an extent.
Yeah.
Do you feel that that's somewhat true?
I think it's had some sort of influence on that for sure. But I don't know if I see it or if I just want to see it, but I feel like there's like maybe a bit of a shift where people are just looking for a bit more of just like human error, like just normality. Like, it doesn't,
Yeah.
you know, less of the kind of real polished stuff.
Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah.
I think there's I hope so.
Yeah, me too. So you did, you were part of a documentary about busking, yes?
Oh, yeah.
What was your experience with that? And what generally with busking, what was your experience been with that?
Well, busking, I started busking in 2019, and it was part of my journey in getting back into music. So it's always, you know, since then it's been an important part of what I do and who I am. And I still busk every now and then today, as almost like kind of, you know, just going down the gym.
Mm.
You know, I'll just go for a busk. I'll play some cover songs that I'm working on, or I'll sometimes play my own stuff. And, you know, just putting yourself out there and just being outside as well. Like, that's really, you know, it's really good for me anyway. I feel really energized after a busk. It's just a really quick way of expressing myself and just feeling connected with the world around me.
Yeah. No, that's brilliant. It's something I've not experienced, but I imagine it's something that could be quite a unique experience, because it's not like a gig as such where I guess there would potentially be times when there's all eyes on you, but quite often it's a moving audience, isn't it? So it's it's an interesting one. I might have to try it sometime. What was the last song that we recorded of yours?
Last song was called At This Table.
At This Table.
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell me a little bit about when you wrote that and what it's about?
So I wrote that I think that was in 2017. I wrote that with Sue McMillan. First time I written with Sue, and I was at a house in North London, and we were looking for like lyric ideas, and I was just reading out kind of like my daily diaries of things that I've seen on my way to work in London. And so a lot of the kind of imagery in that is just from that, really.
Yeah.
So I think the first verse is, you know, it's warm in this house on the hill, and that's my wife's house, or my girlfriend's at the time. The second verse is the empty bottle on the floor, ghost of a man, a violin echoing Let It Be. So that's, I came off a train station, and I think it was at Tower Bridge, and violinist just playing Beatles Let It Be, and I just it was a really kind of cool moment. So I remember just writing it down and feeling what that felt like at the moment. And third verse it's all about the imagery from it is the imagery from my allotment that me and Ashley had when we lived down here. We had some really great memories there, really fun memories, and so we used the imagery to then, basically as our structural points of our song. But the actual point of it is about it's about that human interaction, I think, and seeing the light that people shine, maybe when they don't see it themselves.
Yeah. All right, brilliant. Let's give it a listen, yeah?
Okay.
Well, it's warm in this house on the hill, a wooden floor and a stairway to you, and under covers and under stars you're still, till the sun wakes the morning breaking through. An empty bottle of rum on the floor, ghost of the man that I was the night before. A violin echoing, let it be. And under street lights in the parks where they sleep. At this table, here sits me and you at this table. We've spilled more than just the truth, but I see you. So don't be so cruel, 'cause you don't see you like I do. Well, there's danger in losing faith when yourself and your worth are misplaced. Another life in the garden grows, like a flower you don't know you're beautiful. And at this table, here sits me and you at this table, delicate and bulletproof, but I see you. So don't be so cruel, 'cause you don't see you like I do. At this table, here sits me and you at this table, delicate and bulletproof. At this table, the past you can't undo, but I see you. So don't be so cruel, you don't see you like I do.
Your main instrument is the guitar, yes?
I think so.
But you also play a number of other instruments, yes?
Yes.
Yeah? Cool. What other instruments do you play?
I play the bass. I don't know if I can say I play the bass anymore, actually. I started playing bass.
Yeah.
And like I said before, it was in a punk rock band, so it's pretty simple stuff. I really liked playing. Do you ever listen to Rancid?
Yeah.
Punk rock band. Maxwell Murder. It's a great bass solo.
Right, yeah.
And some of the bass runs on those albums are just incredible. So I play bass like that, but I now play with bass players that are like super talented. I'm like, I've never played bass.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like a lot of people see bass and they go, "Oh, it's easy. It's just 4 strings." But there's a level, isn't there, to bass playing?
I play with this guy James Dibble now. He's in my covers band, but he's also in the Morning Star, the band I play with when I play with a band, and he does things on that bass that, you know, there's like a spiritual thing going on. Honestly, I've never seen someone play a bass like it, and he just makes it such a versatile instrument.
Yeah.
And has made me really appreciate the bass of what it can do and what it is, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so you also play the piano, yes?
Yeah.
So do you ever incorporate these into your records? Like, do you ever play any of these, or do you generally just stick to the guitar?
When I'm recording, I generally stick to the guitar. I feel more comfortable just playing the guitar. Like I said before, like when I'm recording, I like to kind of try and capture the performance as one, and you know, if I'm singing, which most of the time I am, I just need to be comfortable in that moment. So it's usually acoustic guitar or electric.
Yeah.
I've dabbled recently in like piano and vocal. I find it very stressful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different experience, right? Playing the piano and singing.
100%. Like, I really enjoy it. Don't get me wrong, and it was really good to do. I really pushed myself to kind of find myself in that pocket where I was happy with my performance.
Yeah.
As opposed to just feel more comfortable on acoustic, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels more natural playing the guitar and singing, I think, for me personally, yeah. We touched a little bit on social media earlier and its impacts nowadays. So what are your experiences with social media now, and how do you feel it helps you to put your music out there and help spread the word of what you're doing?
Social media has always been and will always be a really good tool to promote your music. It's free, and you can use it as much or as little as you want, and you can, you know, be really creative with it as well. I'm still finding my way with social media and how I want to express myself through it. I find it challenging at times. I need a nudge. I need like people around me like, you need to do more. I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to change my kind of relationship with it, I think. Actually, I was thinking about this morning. It's so important, I think, these days as a, you know, musician to have social media. You do need to, not just to be like a signed artist or anything, but it's just the way people consume music these days. We used to go to gigs at your local venue, and you know, you just listen to whatever bands were playing. That's kind of gone now. People just go on social media and they flick through, and that's what that is. So you've got to be a part of it, I think. And I think as well, like, if you're writing something and you're going to put it out there, then, you know, it deserves to have the time and energy put into, you know, posting about it.
Yeah.
But you do need to like have a healthy relationship with it, I think, at the same time. And I'm still trying to figure out what my relationship with social media is.
Yeah.
And how it works for me. And I'm not working for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's incredibly important. With that in mind then, where's the best place to find your music?
So you can stream my music on Spotify and Apple Music. Some music videos on YouTube as well. I would always say just follow my Instagram or my TikTok. I do a lot of updates on there. Tour updates or recording, writing. Talk about kind of everything that's going on in my life, really, music-wise, and sometimes some pictures of my cats.
That's always fun. So if anyone wants to find, say, your gig listings and up-and-coming shows, you just say on your Instagram?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Instagram or Facebook as well. Like I've got some Facebook accounts. I've got a Facebook account there as well, which I regularly update. Not as much as Instagram. Instagram's more like a kind of personal, day-to-day kind of stuff.
So do you have any gigs coming up that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, but I've just been invited to play the Americana Awards showcase in January. It's in Hackney.
Okay.
So we'll be playing on the... they haven't given us a date yet, but it'll either be the 20th or the 21st.
Okay. And is that with a full band? Is that just you?
It's with the full band.
Oh, right. Brilliant.
Yeah, which is great. I'm really excited.
Yeah. So do you say you do more of that as opposed to just you're on your own?
No, like I've actually played more solo stuff. Playing on my own... it could be quite a challenge to get the band, not together, but get gigs where I'm able to have the full band. A lot of the kind of gigs I'm playing at the moment are support shows.
Right.
So, it's quite a lot to ask if I'm like, oh, can I bring my 7-piece band with me?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much for coming on. I really appreciate your time.
Thank
It's been
you.
great to talk to you, and it's been really nice to listen to some of your music. So thank you.
Thanks, Sam. Cheers.
So that was Liam Cromby. If you're a musician or a band from the southeast of England and would like to be on the podcast, then just email me at the address below and I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching.